You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with the great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio. You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Heather Eck hosts an amazing show called Your Radiant Spirit. Heather, tell listeners about the show.
What if the colors you're drawn to, the creative urges you ignore, and the quiet intuitive hits you brush off are actually trying to tell you something? Your Radiant Spirit is the podcast that helps you listen and live with greater clarity and purpose.
And where can people subscribe?
You can find and subscribe at heathereck.com/yourradiantspirit on marketingpodcast.net or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. My name's Heather Eck, and I'm so excited that you're here. When I created Your Radiant Spirit, I envisioned a space where color, healing, energy, and soul-led conversations could come together to illuminate the deeper truths that live within us. Silvia Araya embodies that vision. Her journey from lived experience with panic attacks to becoming a clinical trauma professional is not just inspiring, it's a powerful reminder that our deepest struggles can become doorways to our most radiant healing. Silvia brings a rare integration of science and spirit, from internal family systems and trauma-informed yoga to Bach flower therapy and family constellations. Her work gently guides people back to themselves, not through force, but through compassion, curiosity, and care. I knew her voice belonged on this show because Your Radiant Spirit is about honoring the whole self, mind, body, spirit, and lineage. Silvia's approach holds space for all of it, and her work reminds us that when we release fear and tend to our emotional roots, our spirit has room to shine again. So, Silvia, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and I loved how you read that.
Oh, good.
That was beautiful.
Oh, good. It's really funny because every time I interview somebody and they hear their bio read back to them, they're like, was that me? I sound awesome.
Right? Yeah. I was like, wow, okay.
I love that. It's a nice reminder, right? Because we're so in the weeds of our own work that sometimes we forget that we've done some really awesome things and that we're capable of helping each other. So I love that. So I would love for you to start just by sharing your story about how your journey started with, when panic attacks first became part of your story and how that has shaped who you are today and the incredible programs and modalities that you share with people today.
Yeah, I looking back now and with all the things that I know now, I think I was a very anxious child. I didn't know, and then an accumulation of things. I call it the soup. Sometimes just to, it's like, big soup with different ingredients, and you have carrots, you have potatoes, you have, all kinds of things in there. So I had a big soup there with a lot of things in there. And everything just erupted
Mm.
when I started college. There was a few things that happened during that time. And yeah, it's like basically putting fire to the pot and then everything boils over. And that's when the panic attacks started. So I was just starting college. I was just starting psychology.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was studying psychology, and I thought in that moment, okay, first of all, what is happening? I had no idea. This is something that at least it wasn't talked about a lot. You know, I don't want to age myself, but yeah, 15 plus years, let's say 15 plus years. Wasn't talked about a lot. And also in the program that I was, I guess depression was more, I don't know, was more of a thing back then. So I had no idea. And I remember thinking, okay, first of all, what is this? And when I found out, I was like, okay, I'm the worst psychologist in the world, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you think about changing your major at that point, or did you commit to sticking in that program?
I actually did change for a moment. So I stayed for a little bit, and then when I finished like the first part of it, I said to myself, I can't see people right now, like because then you get your license, and you have to see people, like actual cases, and
Yeah.
you know and I remember thinking, I can't do this. Like I feel like I have no idea how to help someone. I'm still figuring out for myself, like for my own life. And at that point I think I was already past the panic attacks, but still. So I changed for a minute to business. And I was in business school for a little bit. And then I started to feel better, and then I went back and I finished my psychology degree. Yeah.
Wow. What made you decide to go back? Was there a moment where you sort of had your anxiety, I don't want to say under control, but you were able to manage it in a way that made you feel confident going back to that?
That's it. Yeah. I'm glad that you said, like, yeah, like control it or manage it. I also do like quotes because I don't like the word like control, right? Or
Yeah.
yes, but I definitely had a breakthrough, and I started to understand more what what it was trying to tell me, and all of this amazing information and insight just started come to me. And I said, I need to go back. I need to
Oh,
go
wow.
back because I think I have it. I think I have now something that I can use to support other people. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
when I went back. Yeah. Yeah. And then my graduation thesis was about obviously panic attacks and fear of death, because that's all I could think of at that point.
Yeah. I'm so curious about this because you wrote your whole thesis about the link between panic attacks and the fear of death,
Yeah.
which I think is so interesting. And I'm so curious if you felt like you had that anxiety even as a young child. Did you go back and sort of look at your childhood and start to piece together some threads of that experience? I'd love for you to share more about that if that feels okay.
I had to. Yeah, you're spot
Yeah.
on. I had to. And I feel like it's not necessarily like everyone should go back and like just pull things, because sometimes some people say to me, I don't remember, or sometimes it's very painful, very traumatic, and you should
Yeah.
not in that case. But I had a pretty good sense of my childhood, and there is a big trauma that happened when I was from 0 to 3. So it just made sense. It made sense because I was born with a medical condition, and those 3 years, which are so important in a
Hmm.
person's life, right? I spend it all in like hospitals and getting tested, and they didn't know what it was. And it was, right, it was crazy. And then it all culminated in a huge surgery for 14 hours. I know, where they removed part of my intestines, and then it's a long story. I don't want to get in there, but
Yeah.
the essence is that there was a life threat, and from that part of my life, this fear of death started. And I feel like we all have it in a way, but in my experience, it was a real experience.
Yeah.
And so it all made sense to me, like, oh, of course, I'm now like feeling that I'm under, some sort of threat or danger.
Oh my goodness. So when you had that realization, like, did you work with another medical professional or even I'm thinking like a psychic medium or somebody who could look at your life and go, all right, here's where we can point back to this instance. Like, how did you know to go back to that time? Or did you just sort of intuitively connect the dots and say, this has to be where this trauma started and where this is the root of all of this. I'm so curious
All
about that.
all of the above, all of the above.
Okay.
So I'm blessed that my mom is also a clinical psychologist. So she had a lot of things already mapped out, and she has been always very transparent about all the things around my childhood. And so we already knew, and I already knew about this. I mean, I have this huge scar on my abdomen.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know, and I remember too,
Mm,
even though I was very little, I remember when I was being taken to the OR. I remember like it's just little things here and there. But I also started going to therapy when I was 16 because I was going through depression and anxiety. So I started getting some support. And yeah, the occasional psychic here and there. And
yeah.
so yeah, all of those things help me to piece it all together. And then also my um academic for me, like, being in college too, they teach you like those years are so important. And
Yeah.
trauma that happens when you're an infant is different than trauma, as an adult, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. So, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the insights from your thesis research that impacts your work today, that link between panic and anxiety and the fear of death? And is that sort of something that is like an underlying current for lots of us when we get anxious or feel that way?
It could be, yeah.
Okay.
So it's this, thank you, because I don't have a lot of opportunities to talk about this. So I love that we're going in this direction. I found that in most people, there is always a fear of death. And not in the way of like, oh yeah, I don't want to die, right? No, no, there is like I feel that death is right here and I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to die. Um, so I would say that, again, it could be linked to some trauma that either happened to you, and this is very important, or someone in your family. Doesn't have to be exactly to you, because some of the people listening right now could be saying like, oh, but I didn't have a medical condition as Sylvia, and I had a really good childhood. Everything is okay. Yes, and we know now that our genes and our bodies store
Yep.
trauma and situations from past generations. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be directly to you. It can be to, your dad, your mom, your grandfather, your, yeah, uncle. And it's still, you're feeling it for the system, for the family. And so there is probably some sort of situation, and then it gets stored. And then at some point in your life, that gets basically like activated. And then this is the interesting thing. The body doesn't really know what future and past is. Basically lives in the present. And so whatever you are feeling or thinking right now, the body thinks, but that's what's happening. So
Mm,
even if something happened generations back or 30 years ago, 40 for me, right? The body still feels like it's happening right now. And so it reacts in that way. It's like, I'm still under a threat or danger right now. So it reacts in that way. And the panic attack is that reaction. The way I see it, I'm very visual. So the way I see it is like when you're in water and you're not being able to swim, and then you come up for air and you gasp that way. That's the panic attack, right? It's like your body
Mm.
reacting, trying to like give you some air because it thinks that you're drowning, basically.
Wow, that's really incredible to think about the way that your body is responding to something in the now that it perceives as having, if it happened in the past or you're anxious about it happening in the future, your body has no other way to process that time except for to believe that it's in that moment right now.
Yeah, it's crazy to think because sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't understand why I'm having a panic attack right now. Everything is okay. Everything's fine. I was just sleeping." Some people, a lot of clients ask me, "I don't understand. I was sleeping. So how come I can't be thinking something to produce
Right.
my panic attack?" Right? Because there's this belief that your thoughts produce your panic attacks. And it's not necessarily true. You can be sleeping and not thinking of anything in particular, or just having a good day, and all of a sudden the panic comes. And that's a whole other story that we can go into. But before we go in there, there's another insight from my thesis that was what inspired my first book, actually, because there was a lot of things that I didn't put there that actually I put into my first book. And this is probably the biggest revelation. The fear of death, it's actually fear of life.
Oh, I just got chills. Can you say
I
that
know,
again?
I know, I know.
Hold on, hold on. I feel like this is a quotable moment.
Right? I know. Fear of death, it's actually fear of life. And it took me really some time, and I think I'm still like understanding that. Um, it's very deep. It's very simple, but it's very deep because the way I understand it is that when you are fully present, when you are fully here and enjoying your life, it's very interesting. Think about a moment that you've had in your life where you were just completely in bliss and or pleasure, or you're like, "Oh my gosh." And sometimes we say this, "I could die right now and I'll
Mm,
and I'll be like fine." I don't know if you've ever had those kind of thoughts, but I've had it.
mhm.
Like there's
Yeah.
just moments in your life when you're thinking like, "I could die today and it will be fine because I feel so complete right now."
Mhm.
And so that is the essence of it. When you don't let yourself live fully, actually the fear of death comes because you're not really being here. You're not really enjoying. You're not really being who you are. And so I guess there's a part of us, I don't know if it's the soul or I don't know what it is exactly, that knows it's like, "Hey, I can't go right now because I'm not, I'm not living my best life,"
Mhm.
the way people say, right? And then also, when you think about it, a lot of us, and I include myself, we really don't know how to live.
Mm,
We're always in the future, we're always in the past, we're always thinking about, terrible things are going to happen. We're worried about this, and we're not really living. So sometimes that panic, it's this reminder of like, you got to breathe, you got to
yeah.
live. So to me, then I started seeing the panic attacks as this messenger of like, "Hey, there's something here that you need to look at. We're not living our best life." And so I started to
Mm.
see them as just an alert, like getting a notification on your phone. A very uncomfortable one, I have to say. Not pretty, not pretty, but it is to tell you something here needs to be looked at.
Wow. I feel like that's really profound. It's making me think about the ego and the spirit. The spirit came here to live its most, vibrant, radiant, wild life, to do and to experience all that this life has to offer. And the ego is over here trying not to die and trying to stay in the status quo. And I feel like that what you just described is the tension between that human and spiritual experience and trying to find balance in the idea that we're here to live fully in the present moment in the fullest expression of who we are with our gifts and our offerings, and we're not meant to be stuck in the space of, you know, just like a cog in a wheel going along and
Mhm.
trying to just kind of stay alive
Right.
without the joy. So you really made me think about that, because if you're so worried about dying, you're not focusing on living.
That's
Um,
it.
ah,
Yes.
yes, that's a
Yes, that's it.
goodie.
And the thing is that to be able to, and I talked about this with a friend of mine not too long ago, to be able to live means that you embrace it all, that you're open for the whole experience. And it's not just the moments of pleasure and joy, it's also sometimes the pain
Yeah.
and the not so pleasant experiences. But when we open ourselves to the whole package, like life is all of this, and I will take it and I accept it the way it is, then this release happens. You're not fighting it anymore, and you really embrace life. So I think most of us don't really embrace life. We're resisting it most of the times, resisting what happens, resisting reality. And as you say, that battle inside
Mhm.
between the ego or the parts of us that feel that we need to be in a certain way or fitting, I don't know, all
Yeah.
these narratives, right?
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we didn't come for that. We didn't.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And I think part of this, it really comes, that I had seen somewhere, I think it was like, I'll have to go back and remember what it was, but it was like anxiety is an unexpressed desire or something. And it was
Mm,
like, because you haven't been able to communicate in some way a need or a desire of some kind, or something that you're looking for. And I wonder if some of it is this desire to be able to express yourself, to communicate something, to be creative in a way where you're not burdened by someone's opinion of you, or to love who you love without the worry of what someone's going to think of it, or to to believe what you want to believe without that the fear of that. So that's such a powerful thing. It feels deeply spiritual to have anxiety, because it means there's maybe a certain unexpressed aspect of your spirit. And that is so interesting. And I love the way that you said that. I think that's so powerful. So your thesis, you studied that, and then you are, I'm assuming, sort of parallel path, navigating your own healing journey after having these epiphanies. And so where did you take it from there? What healing modalities made the biggest change, or difference for you personally? And then how did you apply all of that to the work that you do now?
mm. I think that, and this is a great question because there's so many things out there, and this is a question that I get a lot. It's like, so give us the techniques.
What do
Tell
I
it.
do?
Tell it exactly. Tell me. How can I heal? And we need five,
Mhm.
and actually five, three, or three steps. Can you give me? And
We all
it's
want a
it's
framework, right?
I know. We all want the quick fix,
Hmm.
which is understandable because, like I said, it's very uncomfortable. It's very difficult. I don't wish this on anyone, even though it is, and it could be a spiritual path, as we're talking. So to answer your question, the answer is depends on the person.
Mm,
For me, the most powerful tool still is to this day. It's work with my inner child. So, inner child healing, which after I started to get on my IFS journey, became IFS because IFS is actually, it's, then I discovered that I didn't have just one little girl inside me, I had many. Um, but
this is the internal family systems you're talking about here?
yeah, this is internal family system.
Okay.
So, but I started just with inner child healing. And that was by far the most powerful technique, framework, whatever you want to call it, because in that moment I was able to find that part of me that was so scared. Because I remember saying to myself, why can I get on a bus? Like that just doesn't make sense. This is silly. I'm an adult, right? Because when I started having my panic attacks, there was a moment where it was hard for me to leave my home or go to the supermarket. And I know it sounds silly for people who haven't
Wow.
experienced it, but it was a whole thing for me to just even go outside, let alone get on a bus or go to, supermarket places that had other people. And I was fine to do that just a few years ago, like when my panic attacks started, or months or even weeks. So I'm like, this is silly. I'm an adult. I should get on a bus. Buses are not bad. What is happening? But then I discovered that it wasn't me saying that. My little girl, like that small Sylvia, who probably was still 2 or 3 years old in the hospital, not knowing what she had, not knowing if she was going to make it, probably was the one who was scared to get on a bus. And living in the city was too much for her, and having a job was a lot, and going to college and all those things. And so that allowed me to find her and start to help her. And and in that journey, what you discover is self-love.
Mm.
Ultimately, what happens with inner child healing or IFS is that you just discover this immense, unlimited, I would say, source of love and compassion inside of you.
Hmm.
And that's ultimately what heals you. And that's what we say love heals. It's
Yeah.
self love.
Can you say more about inner child work, and how you go about even, I'm going to use the words locating that little girl inside of you? I'm thinking about myself too because I recently learned about something that was said to me when I was probably 7 years old that still impacts me today at 44. And so, a lot of the work I do in the morning is some forgiveness work.
Mm.
Um, but I know that that inner child work would probably benefit me so much. But I honestly have no idea where you even start with that. What does that look like? If you can kind of share a little bit about what that experience is like, either for you or another client of yours that you've seen it be so helpful, and how you even get started with something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question because a lot of people don't even know where to start. I didn't know where to
Right.
start. I have to be honest. When my mom suggested like maybe you should look into this, I was like, I don't like kids. Yeah, I'm serious. I love kids now. I have to say it. But I was no, seriously, I didn't like kids. I was like, oh my gosh, no, they're so
I don't want to
annoying.
do
And that,
that.
but exactly, why would I want to talk to like a toddler inside of me? And but then I discovered that it was because of my own rejection of my own parts that was coming from. Yeah. And and so for some people, I say, if you have kids, it's way easier because you already have that experience of actually consoling and holding and doing that for your own children. But if you don't, it's okay. I tell people, don't think about it because this is not in the head. This is
Mm,
in your body, in your experience. So I tell them, what if you had right now a little boy or a little girl, just a little child that comes to you and says, I'm scared. I think I'm going to die. Don't leave me alone. Like, what would you do? Most people react instantly and they say, well, I obviously will tell them, like, I'm here. You're going to be okay. I'm going to protect you. You're okay. All those things come up automatically. And that's the best thing, right? Let it flow as it comes. Sometimes I say, perfect. If you have a visual, like if you can in your head imagine or, tell me. And sometimes they say, well, it looks like me. Oh, how old? And it just comes automatically. You don't, um, it's important not to mix your head in the process because the minute
mhm,
you put your head into it, it's not the same, right? And whatever flows, flows. If the person says, I don't see anything, but I can feel it, I'm like, fine. Or I don't know how old this baby is or this toddler is. That's fine. You don't have to know right now. The important thing is that you're there with them.
mm.
And but sometimes it comes, sometimes they say, oh, it's me. And it's about like 8 years old. And I'm like, oh, great, perfect. to stay there, right? Sometimes people have a hard time with their childhoods, like I said, because there's some trauma or
Yeah.
difficult situations. So I say to them, you don't have to picture yourself, picture another child, anyone. Make up a child in your head, or your neighbors, or your niece, your nephew, or I don't know. It's okay. It doesn't have to be someone you know. And sometimes for some people, it's even hard just to work with a child in general.
Hmm.
So a pet can work too. So I said, well, picture you like dogs, you like cats. And they say, oh, yeah, I have a dog. Okay, picture that your dog is the one who's feeling afraid and feeling like it's going to die. What would you do? Oh, I would pick him up and hold him and be like, hey, it's okay, buddy. And I'm like, okay, do that. And that would be your inner dog or your inner cat. And it's
Hmm.
funny because again, the point is not that you have to find the exact child and you have to say the exact words. It's not about that. It's about activating that compassion and that love inside
Yeah.
yourself. No matter what, what is it that you see or the object that you're doing that with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time you were talking. It feels like you activate this component of compassion within you that maybe you sort of lost sight of, and you're able to sort of channel that compassion and love inward and receive the benefit of that as though you were that young child. That's so powerful. That's
Mm-hmm.
such important work. And it feels like so many of us could benefit from that because, like you said, we all live, we all live lives. We all go through experiences, whether it was our own personal experience or something that happened to somebody that we love. It leaves a little scar of trauma or pain on us that then we have to figure out what to do with it. And for a lot of us, myself included, I mentioned the thing that happened to me. I didn't realize I'd been carrying that around for all this time. I mean, I did know, but I didn't realize how much it had been impacting me until I worked with a spiritual teacher and she pointed it out, and I was like, oh no. And instantly, once I knew, I was like, well, I don't want to deal with this anymore. This has got to go.
Yeah, yeah. I remember crying at some point, and my mom would not let me lie. But I remember like crying, having a bit of a meltdown one time. And I said to her, I don't want to love myself. Because she kept saying, like, you just, you gotta, and I was like, I don't want to love myself. Is there another way we can do this without me loving myself?
Oh,
But again, yeah, it comes from that, comes from, all the wounds and all the things we say to ourselves without even noticing, all the
yeah,
internal conversations. And I had horrible ones since I was young. So
yeah.
obviously there was a part of me that didn't want to love
Didn't
myself.
want to love yourself, your sweet little
Yeah.
baby self. Yeah.
Yeah. I was more like, can you just is there a shot or something you can give me? Like, so that I don't have to do this. But ultimately, I did end up taking that path, and I don't regret it. I think it's the most important thing I've ever done for myself. And now I have a very different relationship with myself. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% healed or that I, love myself every second of the day. I would be lying, but I definitely find me being my favorite person right now.
Mm.
And I love spending time with myself.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's beautiful. I think that that's probably one of the first things that people can learn to do is just enjoy being with yourself, right? And
Mm.
being comfortable with that. And I think we all have moments that are hard, but if you can sort of return to this place of unconditional love for yourself, that's where healing really starts to set in.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that you've got such a mix of approaches from you have trauma informed yoga, the internal family systems or the inner child work, but you also have something called family constellations and Bach flower therapy. Can you tell us about those? I'm so curious what they are.
Yeah, I am very curious why family constellations is not talked more like but so family constellations is basically a framework and a technique to work with your whole family system. So what we talked about, like ancestors and healing, throughout generations, that's what family constellations is. And I went in that direction because I was finding sometimes with some clients this wall, this block, and we couldn't move forward. And then they were saying, like, I'm doing everything. I don't know what's happening. I'm doing all the healing, but this still there. And then I thought, well, what if this is not from you? What if this is coming from your grandparents or something in the family system that is not necessarily you, but you're the one manifesting it, and it's. So yeah, sure enough, there's a lot of situations, symptoms, illnesses, um, that are happening in the family system, whether you know it or not, and then they come out in certain people in the system. So basically, it's just like ancestral healing. I know it
Wow.
has a very weird name. People think like, what is something with the stars? Is it like astrology? And I'm like, no, no, no. It's just that a system is a constellation. That's why. And so we're talking about the family system throughout the generations. So it has been a powerful, powerful tool to work with, especially when, yeah, the wound, the trauma didn't start with you.
Yeah.
And then match flower therapy, it's something that I also got from my mom. It's one of the gifts that she passed on to me. So it's basically flower essences that you can actually drink. So it's 100% natural, and it's been around for more than 100 years.
Mhm.
It's a very subtle, very soft type of therapy, to the point that a pregnant woman can take flower essences and it's okay. And it was the only thing that I would have when I was going through panic attacks, because I was also scared of pills at that
Yeah.
point. And so that was the only thing that I would take. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's so interesting too. We talk about ancestral healing and flower therapies, things like this. There seems to be this resurgence of
Mhm.
tools and modalities that were used way back in a long, long time ago that are resurfacing now as
Yeah.
people are sort of waking up and looking at patterns that have come throughout I mean, look at mothers, grandmothers to mothers to daughters.
Yeah.
There's so much that passes through from each of us. It's just fascinating. I'm really happy to hear that you use those modalities too. They're so cool. And
Ah,
you,
yeah.
it's really neat. You also wrote a book. It's called This Is What I Really Want, and How to Go Beyond Trauma into the Relationship You Deserve. Can you tell us about that book too?
Yeah, that's my most recent book. And
Okay.
um I started that book years ago, and I knew that I couldn't finish it until I met my husband. So the book came to me way before I was able to finish it. Even the title, I had the title for years, which is rare because normally I don't get the title until the very end. Sometimes it's hard to find the title, even harder than writing the book. But so this book comes from all the learnings and experiences that I had in terms of romantic um, experiences. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it talks about a little bit of trauma, as it says there, and getting to know yourself, loving yourself, all of that. I do talk about two relationships in specific that basically shaped me and who I am, and made me the person that I am today. So I'm grateful to them. They were hard. One of
Mhm.
them is an abusive relationship.
Oh.
And so, yeah, so it's a little bit about that, when you're a very sensitive person, and you get into these dynamics, and then it's hard to love yourself even more
Yeah.
from those experiences. So how to basically um, reconnect with yourself and rescue yourself from those situations, and then love yourself again, so that then you can find the love that you deserve, as the title says. And the love
Mhm.
that you deserve, first of all, is your love, and then it can also come from someone else, from a partner. But until you're not willing to demand, like, I deserve to be loved, and I'm not going to receive less than that. You're probably
Yeah.
going to go through some some difficult experiences. So that's a little bit of my journey and a little bit of tools, just to apply, especially in that romantic journey.
That's so powerful because I think it sounds like when you learned to really love yourself, you were willing to accept the kind of love that you could receive.
Yes,
Um, yeah,
absolutely.
that's so powerful. I always am curious if you notice trends or you hear yourself saying a certain healing truth or reminder to your clients recently. Is there something that keeps coming up with people most often that you're noticing right now?
Right now, I don't know about trends because I'm pretty bad at keeping up with social media, and I have to be honest. And so I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you something that I see. So again, trends outside, but I do feel trends inside, and I'm gonna clarify what I mean by that. And
Yeah.
that, and maybe that's what you meant in the beginning, but
Yeah.
I do see like sometimes like these waves of clients with like the same issue or the same
Yes.
theme. And then I also sometimes going through myself in a different level, but we're also like, and so I'm like, what is happening? Why are we all like all of a sudden having this same thing happening?
Mm-hmm.
So the latest wave, I guess I call it,
Yeah.
is about surrendering. And that's something that I've found a lot of clients and myself working on lately. So it's this invitation to surrender in the sense of not like, "Oh, okay, I give up." It's more like just let go of the resistance of whatever it's happening right now in your life, including anxiety and panic attacks, which I know it's very, very hard to do. I'm not saying this lightly, like, oh, just let go, just surrender yourself to the panic. It's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that if we can really learn to surrender and be present with whatever is that we're going through, it changes everything. Even if it's panic, even if it's pain, like just sitting, like when people say sit with it, sit with that pain, sit with it. Do not try to change it. Do not try to fix it. Do not try to transform it or send it to the light, or don't do anything. Just be there. Just sit with it and say, just come here. And that's personally what I'm going through, and an area of my life. But I've also seen a lot of my clients and even friends come to me and say, I've been trying really to surrender. And I'm like, yes, okay, it's confirmation that,
Yeah.
there's really an invitation out there to right now just let go of resistance and surrender to what is, and stay there and really, really hold it. Yeah.
That is so powerful. I love that you're noticing, I would say, instead of the word trend, that wave, because I think that feels very indicative of what's happening even in just our current society. I think people are sort of surrendering to like, I just kind of need to let this be what it is, and I just
Mhm.
need to sort of ride it out and sit with it. I think it's so hard to sit with something because we're so quick to want to move on or stuff it way down or find something to scroll and look at and sort of ignore it. But that idea of sitting with something, that's sacred. That's really sacred work. It really truly is.
Yes, for sure. And you said all of those things, all of the above. And I've noticed too, this idea that we have to work on ourselves. We have to work on this. And let's work on that, and I'm trying more consciously to change the word work,
Mm.
because I'm realizing that that has some sort of energy, like I need to work on myself. Sometimes like we're not work, this is
Yeah,
it shouldn't be work. And I know what it means too, but I'm trying to also let go of that, because I had this
yeah.
part of me that was like, oh, the minute I would find something, I'm like, oh, I need to call my therapist right away. We need to work on this, I need to heal this. And it became work,
Mm,
like for real work. And then I realized, oh, I'm taking my spiritual and my personal growth as another job. And that was
mhm.
also heavy and it also burdened me. And if I wasn't making progress, quote unquote, then I would feel bad about myself,
Oh, yeah.
and ashamed and all those things. So even just thinking that I have to heal something, and I have to heal myself, and I have to get to this place, it's like, what if you don't? I mean,
Right.
it's going to happen. I think if you do all these things, if you open yourself to love, and you sit with your emotions and you do the best that you can, I think you're going to find yourself in a pretty loving, peaceful place. But that's the result, not, it shouldn't be the goal. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
It makes
Yeah.
total sense. You're making me think of a friend of mine. I love her to death. There are times where she'll say, "Well, that's really good, but you still got a lot of work to do." And then
Right.
so I'm like, I know, but also triggered because I know.
I know. It's like, can you let me like enjoy this a little bit? Just one
It's
second.
true though.
Stop.
But I also think, it made me think of we're human beings. We're not
Yeah,
human doings. You just
that's
sometimes just gotta be. I think the fact that you had the awareness to go, oh, yep, noticed something new. Gonna
mhm.
need to work on that. But the fact that I noticed it is enough for now.
Yes, yes. Sometimes I say to people, that's 50%.
Just being aware of
That's
it, right?
just, yeah, just noticing. Sometimes that's 50%.
Yep.
And then the other 50 can be, yes, applying certain things and actually, doing as, but actually just noticing and going, oh, wow, that changes things.
That's huge. Because if you didn't
Mhm.
know it was there before and suddenly you have awareness of it, when it
Right.
comes up again, you can
Yeah.
start to pay attention to it and start to do something to little baby steps to help ease into the work,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, Sylvia, I could talk to you all day. Tell us where our listeners can connect with you and learn more about your work and your offerings.
The easiest thing I think is my website. So that's what I normally give to people. And it's basically my name, silviaaraya.com. Um, and then I'm in all the social things. So you're gonna find me on, it's saying by my name, you're gonna find me on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and X and all the things. Um, but yeah, I think the website is pretty much the easiest way.
Awesome. And you have an ebook for the listeners too, which I'll
I think
include in the
so.
show notes. It's a guide about why anxiety happens, holistic methods, um, and daily habits to calm anxiety naturally. So I'll
Yeah.
include that in the show notes too.
Yeah, I hope that people enjoy it. Yeah.
I think they'll love it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go download it now.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being here today. I loved our conversation and I loved hearing your story. Thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really had a good time.
Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.